We've made those things of value. We've even gotten to the point where I've heard it said, probably you guys have heard it said, and it goes on every church service somewhere, every Sunday, somewhere this goes on, where somebody will get up and say a certain thing or sing a certain thing, and they'll say, if that don't make you happy, something's wrong with you. That's the point we have gotten to, where what we expect to prove your Christianity is you cry, or you jump, or you run, or you holler. And that proves you're a Christian to a lot of the church world now, because however we got here, this is where we are. This is what we have become. And it's a sad thing. It's a terrible thing. And it's got to change. And I know it ain't going to change with the whole church. It ain't going to change with everybody. It ain't going to change probably with many. But in order for there to be some to reach them out there, something has to change, because we ain't doing it now. How long have we sat here with a handful of people? How long has it been since somebody in your family or in your sphere of influence or your acquaintances, how long has it been since you've seen one of them come to Christ? We witness, we talk to them, we tell them, we invite them, we do all those things that we've been told that we're supposed to do, but still nothing is happening. So we must not be doing something right. And I believe that something is these things that we've been talking about. We need to go deeper. We need to mature. We need to grow. We need to change. We need to look at this whole thing differently than we've been looking at it for years. It would benefit us to really go in and read. How did Paul approach people? How did Peter approach people? It wasn't the way we do things now. They approached them in the power of the Spirit. We approach people armed with something we have memorized, or our way of doing things, or whatever else it is that we use. They went forth in the Spirit, and the Spirit led, and the Spirit spoke through them. If you read where Paul said, you know, I determined to know nothing among you save Jesus Christ and Him crucified. And the things that I'm saying to you, I was not taught by any man. I didn't sit down and write it up myself, this paraphrasing, but spake as the Spirit gave the words. And that's what we need to do. But we're so, we're trained or taught or whatever you want to call it. This is how you do it. You go out. You give them John 3:16. You walk them down the Romans road. You tell them to quit doing this and quit doing that, or however it is that you come around to doing it, and it's not working. But the Spirit knows exactly what will prick their heart. He knows exactly what words will touch them, what will make them think, what will make them see, what will make them consider what it is that you're saying. You know, they are so hardened to this stuff. They're so hardened because they've heard it over and over and over and over. Most of us have told our families and friends and stuff for years. They've gotten to a point now where it just runs off like water off a duck's back, because they've heard it from us over and over and over and over. And they'll get to the point, and you may have heard this, Mom, I don't want to hear that anymore. Dad, I don't want to hear that anymore. Just, I've heard it all before, just keep it to yourself. And we can't reach them like that, but the Spirit knows what will reach them. But that's not going to happen until we're at that place where the Spirit will manifest Himself through us and work through us. And like it was in the original church, everything is done under His control, under His power, at His direction. And I think I said this last week, and I'm convinced of it. If we get our prayer life right, if we go to war in the Spirit, if we battle in the Spirit to tear down strongholds and stuff, I am convinced, because I believe God told me this, and it tickles me whenever I think about it. I am convinced there'll be some coming that you don't even got to go to them. They're going to come to you and begin to ask questions. I believe that, because once those walls are torn down, once those strongholds are torn down, once all that is out of the way, then they can begin to realize some things. Then they can begin to see something. They honestly don't understand. They really don't. In that one scripture where it said, when you tear down the strongholds, then every thought and imagination is brought into captivity to Christ. Once the strongholds are torn down and the walls are torn down, then those thoughts and stuff begin to be under the influence of Christ. Now they're not, because the walls are built up, the strongholds are there, stopping that from getting through. And when we get to that place, like I said, it just tickles me when I think about it. I'm convinced there are going to be people who are going to come and say, what in the world do you have that I don't have? I've been going to church too. My preacher said everything was good, but you got something I don't got. I believe that. But until we get to that point, we're just going to keep going like we're going. We're just going to keep beating our head against the wall. And nothing's going to happen. You know, I can go out tomorrow. I can tell my family, I can tell co-workers, I can tell friends, I can tell people I run into in the grocery store and stuff. I can go tell them, you must be born again. You got to quit acting that way. You got to quit doing this, you got to quit doing that. This is a sin and that is a sin. Have no effect on it. None. The Spirit has to work first.
Right.
And that's the job the Spirit needs to do first, is to begin to knock down those strongholds. I don't know how we got off on all that. Anybody else got a word? I get a lot excited talking about it, because you can begin to see what it is that God can do and God will do. But I won't go off on that again.
I was just sitting here thinking about eternal security. That's a very, very, very dangerous thing that's in our churches today.
It's one of the most dangerous.
And we've experienced that in a different church. When you get people that have, and I'm just going to say it like I feel it, when they've been brainwashed into that stuff, you are hard pressed to convince them of anything else.
Yeah.
And it seems like the big movement in all the churches today. You know, don't rock the boat. You know, they're all right. Let them go, like you said. Just let them slide by. You know, but then I thought of that verse where I believe somebody said it this morning, I think, or it's been mentioned, that they would heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. Something that just popped in and went bing. I mean, it says they would heap to themselves teachers. It didn't say they would heap to themselves preachers, but teachers. That's two different things. The word also tells me that that's the only way we're going to receive Christ, is by the word preached, us sitting under and hearing the word preached. Not teached, preached. You know, I don't know, maybe I'm just seeing stupid stuff, but that just stood out to me. They had heaped to themselves teachers. And you look at 9 out of 10 of them. They don't preach. Not what we may label as preaching. You know, I don't want to go back into the jumping and shouting and all that stuff, but they don't preach. They stand there like they got a 2x4 up their back or something and don't move. don't move out of the spot. And that's the way the seminaries are breeding them and teaching them how to preach. Just stand right where you are, don't move, don't raise your voice, I don't know, it's just aggravating to me.
But, you said about that being a dangerous doctrine, and it is. It's one of the most, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If I was a 17-year-old that wanted to party, and somebody told me if I get saved, I can do whatever I want, still be all right, I'd go get saved and go party.
It's the path of least resistance, like
You
you was
know,
talking about.
A pastor came to my house that we were starting to go to his church for a while, and I said, one place we don't agree. I said, I'll put that right out front. Once saved, always saved. Why is there so much in here about backsliding?
Yeah.
If once you're saved, you're good to go.
You were
And he
never
said, well, the
saved
prodigal
completely.
son, the father took him back, but what did the son do? He had to come back to the father and ask for forgiveness, didn't he?
And what it says was, he came to himself.
Yeah.
And it also says when he came back, the father said he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now he's alive.
Yeah.
As long as he was out, he was dead. And we read the scripture in Peter this morning. Anybody having tasted of the heavenly gift and experienced righteousness and then being entangled again in the world, the end result for them is worse than it was when they started out.
And most of the people that really are sold on that once saved, always thing, dust on the Bible.
Yeah.
They don't look it up for themselves.
But that is a huge stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
Until you can get them to even look and consider, they won't even consider. And they'll take scriptures that are as plain as day, saying that you can backslide and make them say something else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Their
it's
pastor
sad.
told them that, so that's the way it is.
There's just so many, and like Gary said, it's becoming more and more prevalent.
Mhm.
I know people who one time said they did not believe that, who now say they do believe that.
Mhm.
It's easy. It's
That's
easy.
like the pastor we used to sit under. You know where I'm talking about. He was raised holiness. His father was one of the most powerful preachers I've ever heard, my first pastor. And I don't know where he diverted. Path of least resistance, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Keeping people happy, tickling their ears.
if you can convince yourself that that's the truth, there's nothing that you can't do. And I'm not saying that most of them go running out and commit awful sin. But if you believe that, you can do anything.
Well, one of the things that they'll pound into their head, well, if you go out and sin, then you really weren't saved in the first place.
Yeah, that's
That's
what.
another lie straight from hell.
Yeah. You never were saved.
Yeah, it's,
But they have revivals too. Now, what do they need a revival for?
yeah.
Party time.
Why, once they're saved, why they need to do anything else?
Yeah.
Stay home and watch football. I mean,
But if they're truly saved, they won't want to go out and do anything. We've heard that one too.
Well, what we need to do though is lift them up and put
Yeah.
that's the strongholds we
blinders
need
are
to
taken
be.
off their eyes.
We need to be praying to have torn down those kind of strongholds, because there are good, honest, sincere people who have been deceived and led. It's almost as bad as Calvinism, where you ain't got no choice in it. You're either in or you're out. God preordained whether you're going to make it or not. So if you really would believe something like that, why do anything whatsoever? You can be whoever you want to be, do whatever you want to do. If God preordained you're going to heaven, you're going to heaven. If He preordained you ain't, you ain't.
How do we handle one that we have that comes to see us? The Lord sent them to us in the first place, and they went through a tragedy. And what they'll say to us, what the husband himself says to us is, I wish I had your faith. I wish I could believe like you believe. You can, but he won't hear it. And he loved to come around us, our people, the CMA and us and stuff. He loved to be around us. Just can't get through that stronghold, whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
keeping you from making that step over.
And it is, it's sad.
That's
it's
frustrating.
Unfortunate. It'll break your heart when you know good people, good-hearted people, kind people, people who are really nice and generous and all those things, and they're sincere, but there's something they just can't get past. There's something that's just keeping them there. It's sad. And you know, I've said it probably 10 times, but we're the answer. We got to go to war for them. We got to battle for them. We got to pray, pray, pray. And I don't know that, and I'm not saying anybody here, but I don't know that a lot of the church cares enough. Are we really brokenhearted for them? Or do we really anguish over souls? Do we really hurt for the lost? I don't know that a lot of the church does. Because that's another thing I see that the church has become. It's about me. What I can get out of this, what God will do for me, how he's going to bless me, me.
Or their congregation, whoever's in their church.
Yeah.
This is all we need to care about, it's right here.
Yeah. But until we get a heart for the lost, we're not going to do anything for the lost. And, you know, I pray often, God, give me compassion. Just give me compassion. Because without compassion, we're not going to do anything. We can go through the motions, we can say the words, we can do all that, but if it's not real, backing it up, we won't accomplish anything. There is a lot out there to hold people out there, a lot. There's only one way to make it happen. They have so, like I said, they've been convinced there's so many different paths. There's so many different ways that, you know, and to get them to the one path, and it's a narrow path. It's not easy. And in order for us to do it, we got to be willing to give everything we got, everything we are. It's like you were kind of saying, the church needs to get to the point where we realize we have to give more than we've been given. It's time. It's been time. These scriptures, you know, that you hear all your life, when God really starts bringing them alive to you and they really burst on your heart, you really begin to see how much of a need there really is and how far short we have fallen. I mean, we thought we were doing okay because we would come in here and make prayer requests for people, put their name on a paper and put it in a box and pray for it every Sunday. And we thought we were doing okay. But there's way more that we got to do, way further that we have to go.
I think another thing we need to pray for them is to pray that people will stop thinking that God is their personal piggy bank. I hear so many people saying about, oh, well, if God would give me this amount of money, I could do this and I could do that. First of all, if you want God to give you money, you got to plan on giving his back. But they don't look at it that way. It's all what God can do for me, not what I can do for him.
Yeah. But, and that's the thing. It's the me thing. What God will do for me. What I can get out of God. What's in it for me. You know, and that's taught and preached, and books are written about it, and videos are made about it, and there's TV shows about it. This is how you get stuff out of God. And well, the whole big send me $10 scam, and you'll get $100, or you know, it's
Or
all
is
like
there
that.
survival bucket?
But and you know,